Use it with your limitless ancestral warrior forest to make an army of Karui that would make Tukahama
Das ist so
proud.
cool, Junge.
You can think of these like unique items, but for supports. There are supports that are
Okay.
only available at endgame, but they're much more powerful. Like Ratha's Assault. It's an upgraded version of Double Barrel that reloads your skill as you dodge roll, as well as increasing the number of bolts it can hold. But it does mean that it's the only way you can reload the skill now. Now, unlike regular supports, you can't find these through the uncut support gem. Just like unique items, many of these can be found from specific bosses.
Okay. Smash Echo 2 times, Junge.
And there's a ton in the regular drop pool too. Some of them are fairly rare, others fairly common.
All crossbow skills and
Some of them are build defining,
Nice.
others are just straight up power upgrades.
All
All in all, there's around 40 lineage supports being added throughout the endgame, so there's a lot of power to find out there.
That's
Now,
huge.
the new support gems are certainly going to open up a lot of builds, but of course we have a huge range of improvements to individual character classes as well. As well as adding new skills, we had a big focus on buffing existing skills so that they can scale well into the endgame. There's a huge amount to cover here, so we're not going to discuss everything. We're just going to quick fire through some of the coolest changes.
Kein Problem. Kein Problem.
We wanted to make cold a more useful element on the Ranger, so we've expanded the cold tools available.
Okay.
As well as increasing its range, Escape Shot now creates fragments of ice whenever it hits the ground. These fragments explode after a short time, making the
That's
skill better
nice.
for killing groups of enemies. But not only that, we added an ice fragment support that creates more of them when killing frozen enemies. And a new buff skill called Ice Tipped Arrows that allows all your arrows to create ice fragments.
Oh, cool.
This already gives clear to rangers wanting to use ice. But to take further advantage of the ice fragments,
Hey,
Freezing
das sieht voll
Salvo has been
nice
upgraded to
aus.
shoot additional cold arrows towards every fragment,
So
giving
wollen
you a
die das
nuke-like
halt
ability.
haben, ne? So wollen die das Spiel haben. Es soll langsam, nice und wuchtig sein,
We've also
aber das Spiel
modified
ist gar
Snipe
nicht
to
so.
consume frozen from enemies,
die
dealing a
müssen
huge
den
amount more
Damage halt
damage,
runterhauen.
giving you a nice ice single target option.
Weiter runter.
And something you might notice about this is that the bonus is a lot higher against bosses. This is actually a change you'll see throughout the entire game. Since it's a lot harder to freeze a boss, you should get a bigger reward for it.
Ja, das ist nice. Gut gedacht, gut gedacht. Nice.
Another theme you'll see throughout the game is making movement feel better. Toxic Growth is a skill that was pretty cool, but a bit annoying to use with the jump that it had. Now Toxic Growth is a range skill, so you can spam it more easily. And we've also added a new poison skill while we were at it, called Toxic Domain. It creates a small area around you that makes all your attacks create toxic growth pustules, but attached to monsters. Another skill that was annoying to use was Electrocuting Arrow. It's now just a regular arrow, making it easier to use. But it also means you can support it with projectile supports. And it now also has Area of Effect, making it a tool for more than
Sieht
just
cool
single
aus,
target,
aber ich
and allowing it to
bin
scale into the
kein
end.
Range-Spieler.
We also added a new spirit reservation called Mirage Archer. This is a meta skill that allows you to create shadowy clones of yourself to use a skill of your choice.
Cool.
Of course, one of the other big problems the Ranger had was survivability. Evasion was the weakest of the three defenses, and we wanted to change that. Currently, evasion doesn't evade all types of hits in the game, so you're still vulnerable to things like slams or unblockable attacks. To make evasion characters more tanky, we're adding a new mechanic called Deflect.
Oh, okay.
Unlike evasion, Deflect works on everything, and if you successfully deflect a hit, you take 40% less damage.
Okay.
Items can now give you a mod that gives you some amount of deflection based on your evasion.
Gain deflection equal to 10% of evasion.
And there's a bunch of it available on the passive tree too.
Das ist,
Deflection
das
is
wird
rolled in
Meta.
addition to
Das
evasion,
wird Meta.
so this is an upgrade for regular hits too. And unlike evasion, there's no maximum chance. You can reach 100% deflect against all hits if you spec into it enough. Of course, this is a buff that helps all Dex characters, so the Mercenary and the Monk, but especially the Huntress, are seeing big defense boosts from this as well.
Das
Speaking of defensive mechanics, let's talk about block and parry. Now, one of the big concerns on the release of the Huntress was parry feeling unreliable. One of the big reasons for this is there's a lot of hits that are not blockable, and thus not parryable either. So a huge balance change we're making is that now, everything is blockable, except for specifically unblockable red flash skills that bosses use.
Das ist so gut, Junge.
This makes
Das-
parry much more reliable.
Chat,
And not only
Junge,
that,
weh,
but to make
weh,
block and
weh.
parry nicer to use, you now also move faster than before while using these abilities. This is a massive buff to passive block as well, So to counter that, we did have to lower the max passive block a bit, but overall you should feel much safer.
Das ist nice. Das ist so gut.
Fire skills on the warrior were not really cutting the mustard, so we decided we needed to upgrade a bunch of them, but also add some more as well. Let's start with a buff. Volcanic Fissure now branches into multiple fissures, giving it much more clearing potential.
Das nehme ich.
We've also added a new skill called Forge Hammer. This skill throws a molten hammer that does a slam at a distance.
Whoa.
You can recall the hammer back by using the skill again if you like, but the cooler thing to do is to use a war cry now. Using a war cry makes the hammer explode, making a bunch of volcanic fissures around. Volcanic fissures re-trigger when you slam them, so it's a great skill to make a flaming arena to fight a boss. We also buffed Perfect Strike to have a much larger area of effect,
Nice, huge.
and changed Molten Blast to not always force you to move forward. Trust me, it feels a lot better to use now. The skill now has massively boosted chance to ignite monsters as well.
Nice.
And you're going to want to ignite monsters due to a new glory skill called Ancestral Cry. Ancestral Cry charges up with glory by igniting monsters, invoking King Kalm's favor.
Das sieht so
After you
nice
do,
aus, Junge.
use it to channel Kalm's ancestral power. Every attack will be ancestrally boosted with fire. Your very steps will explode, triggering volcanic fissures. And molten balls will erupt from your
rip
attacks.
FPS, yeah, rip FPS.
Warrior shield skills were another area we wanted to improve.
Bitte.
Now that we've got
Please.
sprint, we actually don't need to have a cooldown on shield charge anymore. It now also does more damage the further away you are when you use it. Shield wall got significantly upgraded AoE. Also, you can shield charge right through it to trigger all the walls.
Oh, nice.
We also
Das ist
added a
nice.
new shield war cry. Fortifying Cry gives you a defensive buff, but it also builds up charge on your shield that empowers your other shield skills.
Nice.
And Magma Barrier now doesn't
More
require timing in
build,
order to use.
very
Just wait for your
key.
shield to charge up and block.
Verity, yeah.
Seismic Cry now stuns enemies that are primed for stun. And we changed the Sunder interaction with Armor Break. It now also gives a Sundered Armor debuff that makes enemies take 40% extra physical damage.
Nice.
Great for bosses. Ancestral Warrior Totem has undergone some pretty significant changes too. We wanted the skill to feel more like using an ultimate. That summoning an ancestor to fight for you was a big deal. So we've changed this totem to require 3 endurance charges to summon, and massively buffed its damage. It also now scales your weapon damage too.
Nice, nice.
Since there's no limit anymore, if you build around generating endurance charges, you can summon an entire forest of totems. In order to make that easier,
Nice.
we added some new sources of endurance charges. There's now a support to make Perfect Strike generate charges, and a support for generating endurance charges from heavy stuns as well.
Nice, huge.
Speaking of totems, we wanted to upgrade the Warbringer. Among the other changes we've made to this class, Answered Call now gives an extra totem, and the spirits have just been generally buffed in many ways. Use it with your limitless ancestral warrior forest to make an army of Karui that would make
Das
Tukahama
ist so
proud.
cool, Junge.
We've also merged
so
the Great Wolf Howl and
nice.
Warcaller's Bellow support, so that you can get all the benefits with 1 point.
Oh,
And
okay.
Encased in Jade no longer removes the Jade when getting hit, making it a much better defense.
Huge.
Next up, let's talk about accuracy. Accuracy was always intended to be something that warriors didn't need to care about very much so long as they're in close combat. But unfortunately, that's not currently the case. This was particularly annoying with skills like Bone Shatter, which you certainly don't want to mess with.
Yeah.
So we significantly buffed your chance to hit at close ranges when you don't have much accuracy. Warriors shouldn't require any accuracy investment in order to hit with close range attacks now.
Yeah, nice, nice.
We also wanted to improve armor. Now, one of the major weaknesses of armor is the inability to defend against elemental damage. In order to mitigate this, we're adding a lot more of the stat that allows your armor to defend against elemental damage. It's now available on items and in a lot more places on the passive tree.
You can't die, you can't die.